This lesson is on the 3 innocent mistakes that cause nurse entrepreneurs to fail and what to do instead. Hi, I'm Sharon Birch. I'm the author of the Profitable Nurse Entrepreneur Starter Kit. I'm a holistic nurse coach and educator, and I've started 7 businesses, both for-profit and nonprofit, since 1984. Now I'm sharing what I've learned to help nurses start, stabilize, and grow thriving businesses while living a life they love. So you've heard about evidence-based practice and how important that is for nurses. And I agree, of course, we all do. However, did you know about evidence-informed practice? So evidence-informed practice uses the same ingredients as evidence-based practice with a different focus on programs for groups rather than individuals. EIP addresses a wider range of goals, and it can include a wider scope of evidence sources. So, for example, the World Health Organization and the Canadian Institutes of Health Research both use EIP for their policy decisions. Now, so this is where this lesson is starting from, and this is where I start from in terms of business education and mentoring for nurses. I always start from evidence-informed practice and check back to evidence anytime that I, as a coach and mentor, am looking for additional guidance. And I teach nurses to do the same. It's not that hard to do, and it keeps us in our ethics and integrity with our profession. Because with both EBP and EIP, we honor our clients' worldview, experiences, values, and preferences, and apply our nursing education and insights. So, why do nurses go into business? Well, according to Minucci and Weinstein, the number one reason is to have more personal meaning and fulfillment. Number two is to make our own decisions, to grow professionally and personally. Might be because we have an innovative idea. And the fifth one is one of them that I hear a lot in my practice from nurses who are wanting more control over their time and more time flexibility and freedom. I also hear these problems as the top problems nurse entrepreneurs have. They're unclear on their business basics. And that's not surprising because we don't get education in business basics in our nursing education. We don't have enough money coming in. So we're taking loans to pay ourselves. We're lying awake at night stressed, and we're having a lot of negative self-talk. All of these things can undermine what we're doing, no matter how great of an idea we have, or 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 how noble it is, or how much people need us. So let's look at the first mistake that nurses make, and that is that the business idea they have is not profitable. This is a tough one for nurses because they have seen people be exploited for profit, and they definitely don't want to fall in that handicap or that a way of going about business. But the truth is, our product or our service must be profitable, or we don't have a business. So there are ways to do that without exploiting people. And this is how it is. We must serve a problem that people are urgently seeking to solve. The people we want to help must be able to pay us at a rate that is sustainable for us. Our audience must believe the solution we're offering will work in their situation. And also our audience must believe in their ability to implement our solution. We must be able to reach our target audience without it being too hard, complicated, or expensive. And the last one is that there must be enough people who meet all 5 of the other criteria. And by enough, a rule of thumb is at least 10,000 people in the world that we can reach, okay? And that meet all those other criteria. So those, of course, stop this and go back to the recording if you need to look at that again. Also, there's going to be a handout that summarizes these criteria. So I'd like to give you some cases of nurses that I've worked with and mentored. Yeshe is in business as a spiritual guide. She's been in business for 8 years, but her income was still having ups and downs. And she called it feast and famine. And she had many free and paid offers. She was presenting her services in person and in line. She was doing so many things right. But her mistake was that she was not describing her service as a solution to a problem that people were urgently seeking to solve. So let's look at mistake 2, self-doubt and selling ourselves short. A lot of times we lack confidence that we will succeed. And that's because not surprising when we're doing something new that we haven't done before. We haven't proven our competence yet. We also can feel overwhelmed with the amount of work that's required to start a business. We don't know how to prioritize what needs to be done or how to outsource it or automate it. And we also often don't protect and honor ourselves with clear enough boundaries and contracts. Or in some cases, we lack passion about the mission of our business or doing the work. I actually made that last mistake myself in a business that I had. It was a successful business, but I didn't have passion for it. And eventually I just wanted to quit. Of course, I didn't. I sold the business instead. But it would have been better if that business had been one I was passionate about. So here's another case of Grace. She is a holistic nurse aromatherapist, and she was providing holistic nursing in hospitals for many years. Her role allowed that and supported that. She had a specific population in mind, and that population had a specific problem, and she had a specific solution that people urgently needed and would pay for. So her mistake was simply that she lacked confidence to set up her business and market it. Okay, and we'll come back to Grace later to hear how she solved that problem. So mistake number 3 is that we use marketing strategies that don't work for us. They might not be aligned with our ethics, our values and insights, for instance. We might not know our business's stage of development. And marketing strategies are different for each business stage of development. So if you don't know your stage, you're not going to match it up with the right marketing strategy. You're going to waste time and money and energy by using the wrong strategy for your stage of development. And this was the case with Elisa. She's a nurse coach in business for 2 years. She was offering one-to-one and group coaching for a specific problem and a specific population. But her mistake was she wasn't aware of the developmental stage her business was in. So her marketing methods were stressful for her, and she sometimes felt inauthentic using them. So let's just recap those 3 innocent mistakes, okay? The one is lack of profitability of your idea or your method, self-doubt and selling ourselves short, and marketing strategies that don't work for us. So you'll be interested to know that there is evidence supporting the 3 most critical factors for success in nurse-owned businesses. The first one is insufficient number of profitable sales. And to have profitable sales, the marketing strategies must be aligned with you. Your stage, that's your energy profile, which I'll talk about later, and your business's developmental stage. It also requires a well-developed network. This is not to have a successful business. It takes more than just sitting at home and doing things online. It really involves working with real people in a network. The second most critical factor for success is having experienced business mentor and education in business basics, business development, and finance. So let's go over each mistake and what the best practice is for nurses to avoid that mistake. Okay. The first best practice is design your business as a solution to a problem. And I coach nurse entrepreneurs to use what we know very well, which is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And there's a picture of it there to just refresh your mind. Use your Nurse State Practice Act to guide you, and this will tell you what you cannot do. It will not tell you everything that you can do, but it will tell you what you cannot do. Because remember, the Nurse Practice Acts are there to protect the public, not to empower nurses. Your specialty, scope, and standards of practice are what will guide you and encourage you about what you can do. So using your scope and standards of practice, in my case, the holistic nursing, and your Nurse Practice Act together, like bookends, with one telling you what you can do and one telling you what you can't do. That will guide you. You go down the middle between those two limits. And if a quick way to find your Nurse Practice Act is this link for the AHNA, the American Holistic Nurses Association, has this link where it has all the state practice acts and also explains more about how to use those acts to guide your practice. You also want to use data. Be very diligent in collecting data about your audience and their problems and needs and what you want to do for them and how your strategies are effective or not effective. You can do that by doing marketing surveys and having both financial spreadsheets and spreadsheets of your audience's problems, your intervention, and then the outcome that was realized. Okay. And coming back to the hierarchy of needs, I'll just point out that right now in our current environment, social and cultural and economic environment, if you aim toward the bottom of the pyramid, let's say the basic needs and the psychological needs, those are going to be the most important needs that people are generally looking to fulfill and are willing to spend money on right now, more so than self-fulfillment needs. If your business idea is about self-actualization, then you'll want to include physiological, social need, or belongingness needs with that self-actualization in looking to solve a problem. Because no matter what you do in your business, you're actually in the business of problem solving. So be sure that people want your solution and are able to pay you at a rate that's profitable and sustainable. The key is to choose a need, problem, or outcome that people are aware of and are highly motivated to solve. If your business solves a hidden need or problem, then it's over before you begin, because people aren't buying solutions for problems they don't know they have. Lots of entrepreneurs make the mistake of offering outcomes and solutions for problems they think are important when those problems are not enough of a priority for enough people. So it's important to focus on a specific ideal client. Find clients who are active seekers of a solution. Make sure you can easily connect with your ideal clients and that there are at least 10,000 of those clients that you can reach. It's also important that people can clearly imagine your ideal client so that when you talk about them, a person will easily recognize whether that is them or if they might know someone who is your ideal client. One of the best ways to find out if you've got this right is to talk to people about this problem you solve. And if you start hearing things like, oh, that's my co-worker, Susan, you need to get in touch with her. She really needs what you're talking about. When that happens, then you know for sure you're on your way. So in order to take this step, it's vital to stay in alignment with your nursing values. Be sure to start with empathic inquiry. Empathy is something that most of us have in abundance, and it's one of the things that makes us the most trusted profession in America for the last 20 years straight. So let's look at how we can use our empathy in developing our business. Making empathic inquiry means listening to people kindly with curiosity and compassion and respectfully asking them questions to better understand their problems before we try to nail down our business idea. So we need to include what are the nuances of their problems, how does it affect them, what are the details about their problem, what solution do they want, what works for them in that solution, what's not working and why, and what price are they paying or willing to pay to solve this problem. And this is the type of marketing research that nurses will benefit from doing. It's easy enough to do in person, when you're out and about talking to people, listening. In social media, you can do it. You can do it by phone, by Zoom. Any media will work with this. And to remember, you're coming from your heart and your mind, uh, to uh, to to create, to first of all identify and then create your business idea. And after you've gathered this information, then you're going to ask yourself, what part of this solution or an alternative one am I good at providing, and will I be happy and fulfilled providing that solution? And here's a bonus tip. When you're starting out in business, I strongly recommend that you have only one offer, one main source of leads, and one marketing strategy, preferably free to get started with. Okay. If you do these successfully before you expand into doing more, you will have the strongest possibility of success. One offer means you're solving one problem with one approach. Let's say coaching, for instance. That would be, for instance, one-to-one coaching. That's my recommendation before you get into a group offer. Okay. And what I mean by one main source of leads, that means, for instance, uh, going to nursing conferences. That would be a source of leads. Or attending nursing events online that allow you to network. Or doing, let's say, Instagram as your source of leads. Just choosing one, um, and one marketing strategy and getting those down pat first. And why is this so important? Why am I stressing this? It's because of this idea of multiplication, which in business terminology is called scale. You've got to have sales before you can multiply them or scale them. And I've seen too many nurses and entrepreneurs of all kinds try to use business development and marketing methods that are designed for scaling before they even have their first sales. It takes having at least, look at this math. If you don't have at least 3 sales that you have made consistently and you are confident in your approach, you're not going to be able to multiply those to any meaningful extent. So let's look back again at Yeshe. She identified a specific problem that included a need that was lower in Maslow's levels, that went with her high level problem of self-actualization that she had been trying to market. She also created a solution. By doing that, she created a solution that many people were urgently seeking, and she reduced her offers from many to one free and one paid. And as a result, she started making sales reliably. So let's look at the second mistake now, the mistake of self-doubt and selling yourself short. The best practice to avoid that mistake is to hire a business coach or mentor. And this is because your coach can help you move through fear and overwhelm. It's very hard to do on your own, or even just relying on friends. Your coach sees your value while you develop your ability to see it in yourself. And the coach helps you build on your strengths and avoid your blind spots. Avoiding blind spots is a big one that, again, just friends and colleagues can't always do for you because they haven't been down the entrepreneurial path. A coach helps you stay aligned with your values when they're tested, and they will be tested in the business world. And a coach shares tips, tools, and best practices that can save you time and money. In fact, a good coach or mentor will easily save you much more time and money than what it costs. They also help you see your best options when you're at critical decision points. So this was the case of Grace, who I mentioned before. When Grace chose a business model that fit her authentically, and with the help of her coach, and she moved through her imposter syndrome feelings that she was struggling with, she realized that business was truly a viable path for her. And as a result, her confidence just naturally grew and radiated, and a local physician surprised her and offered to share his office space with her. And he is now also a referral source for her clients. Mistake number three is marketing strategies that don't work or feel right. And the best practice to avoid that mistake is to have nurse-designed business education. Business education that aligns with your ethics, values, and insights, tracks measurable data and business development milestones, and matches your marketing strategies with your energy, your personal energy, and your stage of development in your business. Because businesses have developmental stages just like human beings do. Okay, and we can't run before we can walk. We can't walk before we crawl. So we need to we need to have the education that about these stages of development. I don't see those being offered in the current business education. Most current education programs for entrepreneurs online, I'm not seeing the business development being taught, and that is key. And and the milestones that let you know what stage you're at and when you're ready to move to the next level. I'm also not seeing the business owner's energy blueprint being calculated or figured into this, to the choices about how to choose a business model and how to move forward with the marketing of it. And in my practice, in your starter kit, you had, in the Start With You part, you had quite a bit of information about how to identify your business, your entrepreneurial energy, and embrace it and leverage it to work for you. So I hope that if you haven't seen that yet, you'll go back and see that part of the Start With You module. So this was the case with Elisa. When she tracked her developmental milestones and refined her offer and marketing strategy to fit her personal energy and her business stage of development, then she was able to decrease her marketing time and energy costs by half, and her profit, her confidence, and her peace of mind doubled. So be sure to download this handout, this PDF, the Profitable Nurse Business Success Checklist. It summarizes these 8 essential criteria and gives you those tips in an easy 2-page document. And I'd like to now summarize these essential criteria. You need to focus on a specific client who has a significant problem that you can help solve, who's actively seeking a solution, who you can easily connect with, and who there are at least 10,000 of these people. You also need to describe your audience clearly enough that they are easily recognized and have business education that's aligned with your nursing ethics. So here's some additional business development resources that are designed for nurses. The National Nurses in Business Association, the Society of Nurse Scientists, Innovators, Entrepreneurs, and Leaders, Profitable Nurse Entrepreneur, which you know about because you're here, and the peer support Facebook groups produced by the ANA Nurse Entrepreneurs and the Nurse Coach Connection. You can easily pause this and search for those with a Google search. Because you want to have an unstoppable business that is not a stagnant business. And to do that, you need to stay focused and on course with an evidence-informed practice based on solid business education and nursing that's designed for nurses. So that's the end of this lesson. And if you haven't already gotten the starter kit, you can get it here at the profitablernurse.com website. Thank you.